Jesus, our King, God's King, is a righteous and just King, which means that our God is a righteous and just God. In Scripture, those concepts of righteousness and justice are often intertwined because righteousness is not about personal piety. It's not about a particular standard of individual moralism. It is about right relationships and about wholeness within community and society, and relationships involve other people. Justice involves other people. It involves defending the image of Godness in everyone and challenging the practices and processes and systems and structures that deny or denigrate that divine image. In the words of Rowan Williams, the former Archbishop of Canterbury, where human dignity is least obvious, it's most important to make a fuss about it. Where human dignity is least obvious, it's most important to make a fuss about it. This time of COVID-19 has been quite apocalyptic, and one sense of that word refers to the end of the world, but the Greek word apocalypsis means an unveiling, a revelation. Things are being revealed, not least of which is the truth that all of humanity is intertwined and interconnected. In the words of Martin Luther King Jr., we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality. We are tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. But you know what sentence comes before that quote? Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. The injustices and inequities in our world, they're also being revealed. The individual selfishness as well as structural and systemic sin is being revealed. Billionaires who make millions of dollars per hour somehow have hourly wage employees with no paid sick leave. Elected officials are using privileged information to benefit themselves while lying to their constituents that there's nothing wrong, nothing to worry about. Those whom our system considered worthy of only a minimum wage or only a low wage, grocery store workers, truck drivers, gig workers, delivery drivers, farm workers, cleaners, it turns out that they actually are essential. And maybe we've been exploiting them for their labor. Those who take care of our bodies, like doctors and nurses and medical assistants, those who take care of our kids, like daycare workers and nannies and teachers, those who come to our aid, like first responders, police officers, firefighters, medical responders, social workers, and so many more, In some ways, I think we see more clearly than ever before who is essential. And yet the wealthy and the connected are getting tested even if they're asymptomatic, while the poor and vulnerable can't get a test even if they're showing symptoms. And as more and more data comes out around the racial breakdowns on testing and treatment, well, you will not be surprised to know that racism and white supremacy are making rounds there too. Xenophobia and anti-Asian, not even just anti-Chinese prejudice, anti-Asian prejudice, because that's how dumb prejudice and racism are. Anti-Asian prejudice and xenophobia are on the rise, enabled by language from the highest office in the land. I know folks who have been shunned in grocery stores and spat at and told to go back to China even if they're not from China. I have friends whose kids, before the schools were shut down, were bullied in school because they were Asian. This week I joined with thousands of others in signing a statement crafted by Asian American Christians standing against racism and prejudice in the time of COVID-19. Why do we need a statement? Because racism is so baked into our history, into our systems and structures that in moments of stress it just leaks out, it just pours out. Because, friends, in times of crisis, who we are is revealed. In times of crisis, who we are is revealed. Now let me be clear, I am also so grateful to be seeing the work of the Spirit and the character of Christ revealed in people as they care for one another and they come together to serve in sacrificial ways, to give to each other and to come around each other, whether that's nurses and doctors going and working in hazardous and risky conditions, or whether that's folks at home making makeshift cloth masks for people, or delivering food, or picking up meds, and all of that. I believe those are signs of the kingdom coming. And I'm so grateful to see those, so inspired to see those happening in our church community and around the country and even around the world. But we also have to name the values that have been baked into our society for years and over generations. The sin and selfishness that we all participate in, which encourages us to prioritize our comfort and safety over, just to give a few examples, the lives and livelihoods of those in refugee camps, those who are incarcerated, those who are living in slums or on the streets. All of that is being revealed as well. Lord, have mercy on those folks who can't socially distance. Now, if you think this is too political, let me offer a couple of responses. First, this is real life. These are not disembodied hypotheticals. These are the very real situations of folks even in our church, certainly in our community, and folks throughout the country and around the world. These are fellow human beings going through this. And if the gospel that's being proclaimed to you doesn't have anything to say about reality, about real life, then I'm not sure that it's the gospel, the good news of Jesus. I'm not sure that it's the good news that Jesus embodied. And second, what Jesus was doing here in Luke 19, in the temple courts, was a very intentional political act of resistance. He was challenging the economic and religious and national power structures of the day. He was challenging the exploitative, self-serving, and sinful actions of those who claimed to represent God, because the God they were revealing by their actions was neither compassionate, nor righteous, nor just. And so I think the question that is posed to us when we become aware of these things is, well, what do we do? If Jesus is a righteous and just king, what does the gospel of that Jesus have to say to these injustices, to these inequities? What kind of God will we reveal by our words and our deeds?